comic books, movies, TV, and more. Nerds are everywhere. It's time to assemble! It's Nerds United.
Hello and welcome to a brand new Nerds United here on the Jitter Monkey Podcast Network. And for those of you with the benefit of the internet, it didn't make any sense, YouTube as well, youtube.com/Nerds United. I'm pretty sure that's it. Anyway, my name is Greg Mahochko, and joining me, as always, the co-host of the year. You know him, you love him. He is Sir Luther of Luthington, Mike Luther.
There's no chance that our YouTube is youtube.com/Nerds United because we don't have enough subscribers to make it like that.
Maybe someday.
Ours is youtube.com/ probably A73412.
Variety of letters and numbers.
Yeah. But
maybe someday, Mike.
Maybe someday.
We were talking about how we could get more subscribers on YouTube, and the idea was to send me out there Bert Kreischer style without a shirt. Mm-hmm. And I was like, nobody wants to see that.
Hey, look, it worked for Bert. You know?
It did, but he was also like funny.
True. He's fairly funny.
He had stories to tell.
Yeah,
true. I mean, I have some stories to tell. I just don't know if anybody wants to hear them. Have we talked about his most recent special that's on Netflix?
No, I know we haven't. Is it Razzle Dazzle?
Yes.
Okay.
Have you seen it?
I have not checked. I know, and I started watching it, and then I went on to something else.
I gotta say, there's a story in there about like a raffle, like a fundraiser raffle. I was dying.
Okay, I do have to check it out.
It's such a great story. I'm not even going to try to, it would be a complete disservice if I even tried to get into the plot of that. It's so like, I want to go back and watch that story now. Is it up there with like the Machine story? I don't know. It's a different type, but it has a little bit of a vengeance, but a lot of heart behind it. So
okay, I definitely need to check it out. I saw try that again. The special he had before, I forgot what it was called, and that one was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Have you gone and seen stand up at any point in time? Like
I have, with some more prominent acts and some more not as prominent. So there is a comedian from my hometown of New Baden who's a few years older than us, and he's kind of, I don't know, he's a buddy of mine, but he used to do the Clinton County Comedy Tour.
Right.
And so I did that and made a new friend through that who's a comedian who has been on Letterman, when Letterman was a thing, and he continues to tour. But my wife and I also went up a couple of times when we lived out in Salem up to Effingham.
Okay.
And one time we saw Brian Regan.
Oh, nice. I love him.
And the other time we saw Rodney Carrington.
That name sounds really familiar.
Think of like Blue Collar Comedy Tour, but like with a lot more swear words.
Okay, that's kind of what I was thinking. Going back to the Clinton County Comedy Tour, though, are you talking about John Garrett, right?
I am talking about John Garrett.
Okay, that's what I thought. I didn't know he was still touring. I didn't know because I know he had been on the podcast a year ago.
Yeah, several
years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, time flies, I guess.
And I don't know if he's, like I said, he was a comedian one time. I think he's done more podcasting. He wrote the book.
Yes.
What's Your And book. But the other comedian I'm talking about is Keith Alberstadt, who's very funny, works clean, but kind of really gets the most out of his stuff. So a lot of times I'll see, because we're Facebook friends, which is not as impressive. I'm not Facebook friends with Brian Regan, but I'm Facebook friends with Keith Alberstadt, which is still pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
But so I'll see some of his like reels and things pop up, and so I always give him a like to try to bump him up a little bit in the conferences. So real good guy.
I definitely want to go see more stand-up comedy. This is honestly 20 years ago, maybe slightly less than that. There was in Fairview, O'Fallon, somewhere there was like a Funny Bone.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw some amateur comedians there.
It was in the I think it used to be a Ramada Inn
Yeah.
with the TGI Fridays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that place, it's completely completely something else now.
They tore it all down.
Yeah.
And built a new TGI Fridays.
Yes. Went there, and that was good. And then I'll say last year, I went with a couple friends and saw Tom Segura.
Oh yes.
Yes. And then in October, I'll be seeing Nate Bargatze. So.
And he had to add, I think, another show or two shows.
He's added several shows. I want to say at least two to the St. Louis one.
That's gonna be a good time.
Oh yeah.
I'm very excited for you, and a little bit jealous.
Well, yeah, understandable,
but I do like his special. I do watch his special, and I didn't watch the video. I know it's on YouTube in its entirety, and I queued it up and then didn't hit play because it was on my laptop. But I'm gonna pull it up on YouTube on my TV sometime. But it's Nate Bargatze, like maybe 20 years ago, like with a 22-minute Comedy Central special.
Okay. Oh, nice.
And it's like, you almost like, that's him?
I'm guessing a little bit heavier, just a little bit heavier, and no beard.
No beard, more hair.
Yeah.
That's exactly. Have you seen that one?
I have. I don't think I've seen that full one, but I've seen a lot of his older stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got check out. But, and again, he's the kind of comedian that, like, theoretically I could have on the TV when the kids are around because he's not like, what is it? If you're working blue, you're foul mouth, or working green? I can't remember the.
I don't remember.
Here we go. Working blue. Ranges from bordering on blue comedies, also referred to as bawdiness or being bawdy. That doesn't.
I would have to look up what bawdy meant.
Form is off-color, indecent. Blue comedy is the form of off-color, indecent, or risque. So that's the not so. Yeah, so if you work green, then it's more age or all ages.
You would think working green was like working like outside, like environment. They gotta have something that wouldn't make sense. If somebody said I'm working green, I would be like, "Oh, you're doing shows outside?" Oh, yeah, cool.
Dave Chappelle did some of those during the pandemic. I remember.
Yeah.
And you would think now in the world of like the red band trailers that they would change it to like working red.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're working red, then you're pushing the envelope.
Yeah.
So cool. Well, man, I really enjoy stand-up comedy. I have on my phone a couple of comedy special like albums. One is Mike Birbiglia, and I really like his way of presenting because he tells a long form story, and it weaves in and out, but is really comical in his approach. And I also have a Chris Hardwick comedy special.
Yeah, I haven't followed him in a while.
Not since he sold Nerdist.
Probably, yeah.
But this special is, I'm gonna pull it. I'm only pulling it up for the sake of I can't remember what it's called, and I want to. But
I remember him doing
Fun Comfortable.
Okay, yes.
And this is hard to believe. This album, this comedy special, 7 years old.
Wow. Yeah.
But what's really crazy is I can tell you what I was doing the first time, like when I downloaded it and listened to it, and that was I was driving the water truck.
Oh, okay.
I found it kind of a couple years after its release, and so I had the water truck, and I remember specifically I was out in like west part of St. Louis, and I remember specific moments of the album where like I hit pause, go make my water delivery, and I remember it was like an apartment complex or something. Don't ask me how. Like this is all really random information. But at the same time, it was super funny.
Yeah. I don't even know. Like I said, I don't really follow him, so I could be way off. I don't even know if he does stand up anymore or if he's just like hosting shows now.
Yeah, I don't know. And I stopped listening to the ID10T podcast, a couple years back too. So I got a lot of podcasts, so it just kind of became too much.
I'm the same way. I was I was pretty faithful to Nerdist, I want to say. I really enjoyed even when they didn't have any guest on, any celebrity guest, when it was just the three hosts. And they called it something. I can't remember what they called it. But I really enjoyed that. Those episodes. And then once ID10T came around, I might have listened to a handful of episodes, and then I just stopped because same with you. Same with a lot of the podcasts I listen to. It's like there's just so many.
Right.
I have to move on.
So many podcasts out there. That's tough for little guys like you and me to get our fair share.
Yeah.
So all you celebrities, go do the things that you got famous for and leave the podcast realm to nobody's like us.
Or just come on our podcast.
That too. I'd be fine. We don't need to sink all ships to raise ourselves. We just need you on to elevate our... No, okay. Yeah. So let's move on. Mike, as we tend to start out most of the episodes after a little friendly banter, and this time again, dipping into the stand-up comedy realm, which is pretty great. And thank you for introducing me to Tom Segura. So I've seen some of his specials on Netflix as well. But we typically start the show with what we've read and or watched. And I know for a fact that you have read and or watched more things than me. So I thought what I might do is just mention that one little thing that I've watched and then get the heck out of the way.
Okay, yeah.
Or sorry, not watch, read. So I read last weekend, pretty much in one. Well, we'll say maybe a day or day into night, but finishing it over last weekend, whatever it was. It's a story from Marvel on which a current series is very loosely based upon. And that book that I read was Secret Invasion, Brian Michael Bendis.
Nice. What did you think?
Well, as is, I guess, my way, it built up quite a bit. And I did find the ending very anticlimactic. Okay.
I wish I could agree or disagree with you, and I can't because I have read it and I do not remember it at all.
It's so for those of you who don't know, what is Secret Invasion about? I've never heard of the show or the series or the book. Skrulls have infiltrated. Now in the show, they anticipate that there's millions of Skrulls all over. And we found out in one of the more recent episodes. I don't know if you've been watching the show.
Yes.
Okay, so we know that Rhodey, Colonel James Rhodes, is a Skrull. We don't know for how long.
Spoiler, I guess.
Why not? I mean, look, if they're watching or listening to this before they watch Secret Invasion, then their priorities are out of whack. And that's saying something because Secret Invasion, I think, is just okay. I don't know if that's I don't know your thoughts on Secret Invasion.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's not superhero fatigue or anything like that. It's no. I don't know what it is, but like when they first started coming out with Marvel I guess Marvel TV on Disney Plus, however you want to say it, I was excited. Like I would be watching them like at 3:00 in the morning when they came out. And now it's more like, oh yeah, there's a new episode on. All right. I got nothing to do right now. Let me check it out.
We used to, a couple of years back in my office, on a Friday when the boss wasn't around, a coworker had like I guess like an Apple box or something, you could plug in. We had an overhead projector and he'd plug it in. So like we would have watched WandaVision, like when we had, an hour late on a Friday afternoon, something like that, we'd watch it. And that was, of course, when it came out on Fridays. Now everything jumps on Wednesdays. But so yeah, we used to like really kind of devote time and make an effort to. And now it's, I think, I don't know if it's superhero fatigue or Marvel fatigue or whatever, but maybe it's just, and I hope I'm not defining something by, but it's like, there's just an awful lot. And maybe I think there's just an awful lot of content. And so again, not to say it's necessarily the superhero element of it, but there's a lot to watch.
Yes, I would agree with you, but also a part of it is I think there hasn't been really strong links between the TV shows and the movies. Now that's going to change, I think, with the Marvels,
right?
I think people are going to need to know slightly more about Ms. Marvel, so maybe they can go and watch the TV show. But as of right now, there hasn't been, in my opinion, a movie where you're watching it, and if you hadn't watched the TV show, well, then you go like, I don't even know what's going on here.
I would say maybe the closest exception would be WandaVision and Doctor Strange 2.
I was kind of thinking that, because I guess if you hadn't watched WandaVision, the last time we saw Wanda, she was good.
Right.
I believe, So yeah.
Well, and to that end, and I'm trying to pull up a list of everything. All right, so we've had. I mean, let's just look at the list. Gosh, there's a lot.
Oh yeah.
All right, so
yeah.
She-Hulk hasn't appeared anywhere else.
Nope.
Falcon and Winter Soldier, haven't seen either of them.
No. Now we will have a new. We have Captain America, Brave New World Order, or whatever it's called.
Yep.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen them yet.
Right. Yes.
Hawkeye, haven't seen him since the series. Moon Knight, Loki. So you're right. I mean, they haven't made a concerted effort to link.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you could say on the back end, we had Falcon Winter Soldier, which, piggybacked off of the events of Endgame, but nothing that gets you excited for that next chapter, with the again, depending on who you're talking to, and like WandaVision, which of course led into all or part into Doctor Strange 2, and then Ms. Marvel, who will of course be reprising that character November-ish 17th, I think.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
In Marvels. So,
and also I'm wondering, and I was just kind of thinking about this today. As far as superhero fatigue goes, for me, I don't know if it's necessarily too much content or too much like individual content. Meaning that, so example, Shang-Chi. I forget when Shang-Chi came out. Was it 2018?
No, it was
or 2020 maybe?
2021. The twins were around already.
Okay. Oh, perfect. 2021, right? It came out. There's not another, there's not Shang-Chi 2 in the works until after 2025.
Yeah.
And it might, and with the actor strike and writer strike and all that, it might be 2026, 2027 or whatever. So we're having these long breaks in between characters,
It was, let's see, Iron Man came out in 2008. Mm-hmm. Iron Man 2 was 2011, I believe.
Yeah.
And then you had Avengers in 2014.
Is that right? Wow.
I think so.
I don't know. But yeah, and then Avengers. Yeah, because it started off really that you had Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor.
2012 for the Avengers.
Okay.
Ultron, Age of Ultron was 2015. So
okay.
I thought even 14 didn't seem right.
Right. Yeah.
So Secret Invasion. That's what I read.
Okay, I'll kind of, since I read a lot, I'm kind of going to go quickly through them. Do you want me to start with the last one I sent you or the first one I sent you?
You just say it. And I'll throw them. I don't have pictures for all of them, so we'll do our best.
Okay. Middle West, book 3. Right. Yeah, perfect. Got one for that. Yeah. That one I had read book 1 and 2. I don't know, a year or two ago. So when I picked up book 3, I didn't exactly remember what it was about, but I kind of figured it out, and I've enjoyed it. I think I said in the very beginning that when I was reading book 1 that you could make like a kind of a Disney story over this. You would have to change a lot of the words,
right.
Because it can border on the R rated.
Do you think maybe Prime?
Maybe Prime, yeah.
Because Prime has shown, with at least with their adaptations of The Boys, that they're okay.
Yeah, but this one isn't not even close to as vulgar as The Boys or Invincible or anything like that. It's more of like a teenager who's just learning to swear. That's what it reminds me of,
Been there.
Yeah. All right. Next one is by Al Ewing and Simon DeMeo. We Only Find Them When They're Dead. This is book 1, I believe. It says somebody. Yep, book 1, The Seeker. All right. Now let me say about this one. I don't know why, but I just couldn't get into this one as much as I thought I was going to.
Yeah.
It was the same for you.
It took an awful lot of like focus.
Yeah, and I don't know why. I could see somebody absolutely loving this book.
Mhm.
So I'll never discourage. Is that a word? Not encourage somebody to go out and read comics. This one, I'm not planning on getting book 2. I'll just put it that way. But I could see somebody. It's sci-fi. It's the animation. Oh, not animation. Well, I say animation because it kind of reminds me of animation. The art style on it is fairly good. But yeah, I just couldn't get into it. So the one I could get into though is the next one, and that is Strange Adventures. Ah, yes. I last time I talked, I think it was last time, time before last, I can't remember. We're talking about rebooting the CW verse or the Arrowverse, and I mentioned Strange Adventures, and I was only not even halfway through when I said that would make a good TV show. I agree with myself that I would make a good TV show, and yes, probably 10, 12 episodes, right? And 10 episodes was a filler like they do on Arrow and Flash and really Smallville.
Right. And to your point, I think they could really do it justice by and I mean it's a bigger book.
Yes.
So I think it's more than 12 issues.
Yeah.
But like just do like not necessarily like a shot for shot, but HBO Max, or I'm sorry, I guess Max would be a good landing spot for like, all right, however many issues it is, that's how many episodes, or like maybe do 2 issues to an episode and do 12 or 15 episodes, a little miniseries, because you're right, it's such a unique story. Tom King at his finest.
Yeah, and here's the thing too. This isn't like the end all be all of God, now I forget his name. Adam Strange. I was thinking Tom Strange because you said Tom King. I was like, no, that's not right. Adam Strange. There's more adventures he has.
Wait, there's Tom Strange, right?
It's Adam Strange.
No, I know, but who's the Tom? Is there a Tom Strange?
They're probably somewhere out there. Tom Strange. If you're watching this.
Oh, okay. I was thinking. I don't know why. I was thinking Tom Green.
Oh, Tom Green. If you're also watching this, comment below. Subscribe.
You remember Tom Green, right?
Yes, of course.
Okay, just making sure.
And so back to Strange Adventures.
Yeah,
honestly, even before, spoiler alert for this book, I'm going to say, even before kind of the twist, I was like, this guy's not a good guy. He just not. And I'm like, I don't see how he is thought of as a hero. And so next one, Ghost Rider,
Unchained
Melody.
You're not allowed to do that in pottery class. There will be no ghost references.
This is a good one. This is I think the first Ghost Rider a book I've read. I believe it was Johnny Blaze. That wasn't a different guy. Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't know if I have it downstairs or if you have it at your house, but I remember you mentioning Cosmic Ghost Rider at one point in time.
I don't think I have Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Okay,
I think we saw that they were there was a new series out that was Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Okay, that might be right. Yes. And then last but not least, I continued with Sweet Tooth right there. Book 2, enjoying it still.
Hold that cover up again.
Yep, I gotcha.
So I was looking, as people who are watching this know, and how like on the right side of the book it has like the sawtooth type of ridges on it.
Yeah.
Or like cut out. I was like, oh, I was trying to find the cover, and I was like, oh, it looked like it was not supposed to be there. So I did. That's why I don't have a good Sweet Tooth photo. So I'm sorry to you. I'm sorry to the viewers.
That's quite all right. If you've watched the Netflix series, you got a very general idea of it, very, very general. But this is, I mean, they're starting to go in different directions. I mean, look, even book 1, they're going in different directions. They got kind of names of characters, really.
Mhm.
That's about it. Like I think I said last time, Sweet Tooth or Gus, I just seems dumber in the book. I don't know why he does. Big Man, or I think they rarely call him Big Man. Jeppert is what they call him in the book. He's very violent, very brutal. He's protecting Sweet Tooth, but he's sort of a good guy. Maybe he has good intentions, I'll say. And then just like in the season 2 of the series, at the end, they're talking about going to Alaska. And it's the same in this book. They're talking about going to Alaska. So yeah, but that's what I have read so far.
Now, we're going to break up this next segment a little bit because the next segment is like, what have we watched or things that stood out that we've watched? And we're going to really come back to something that you watched a week ago. But I want to talk about, and it's going to lead into our next topic a little bit. Within the last 2 weeks, I have started and completed 2 full seasons of a show that's available on Prime Video.
Okay.
Called Upload.
Oh, nice, yeah.
And Upload stars Robbie Amell, which is Stephen Amell's brother, who I believe was on Arrow or The Flash.
So is it his brother or his cousin?
I believe brother.
Okay, sweet.
So Upload is, imagine a world where you can basically upload your consciousness before you die, and there's like a digital afterlife for you that you can still interact with people who are alive. There's 24-hour customer service if you have an issue, and like I was like, okay, well, the premise is intriguing, and I saw, like, again, as I've been finding things randomly through these Facebook reels, and it was a little clip. I said, what the hell? What is this? And through the comments, so I said Upload, and then I started watching it again. The premise is wild, and in our society, I don't know if it would ever actually take off. But it did ring to mind. You have basically, for the wealthy, they can reserve Lakeview, and they can have all of their afterlife desires and things like that. And I got to thinking, I'm like, Mike, have you ever thought about what heaven's like?
Have I thought about it? I mean, nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Yes, I have. Short answer, I have.
What do you think heaven's like?
I think it would have to change constantly, because I don't think there's anything that's like would be if I don't know if there was something that was for eternity.
Mm-hmm.
I think no matter what even if you're like right now, what I would absolutely love is this. An eternity of it, after 1,000, 5,000 years, you might get sick of it.
Pepperoni pizza.
I think it would absolutely have to change constantly, right. And then your mind would have to get rebooted, or you don't remember it, and
there are elements like that in the show Upload, where people who are deceased can bring a little excitement into their lives by having an AI baby.
Okay.
I think in the afterlife, things like that. So I've always thought one of the aspects of this show Upload that I found intriguing was like the customizable version of heaven, right? Okay. Like you can kind of create it whatever you want. And I always thought, and I think part of me is like stuck as a 13-year-old kid in this, like when my grandpa died, is, man, I think heaven's gonna be like, where you can see all your loved ones again, and like I can go fishing with my grandpa again, and things like that. And the dog that I remember as a little kid, and Lucky, who we lost a few years ago, and like I just see all my loved ones, and all the people that I've known.
Yes, yeah, absolutely, yes, perfect. But with that though, would you, because you mentioned 13, would you be 13 in there? Or do people see you as? Do people see or do people see you as 13? Like, do you see your grandpa as not the age he was when he passed away? Do you see him younger? I think I would, depending on what age I am when I die, I'd probably not like to be 60 when I'm in heaven for the entire time.
I think there's a world, and I don't know how, like, I would want
Mm-hmm.
others to see me, but I do think that, look, in heaven, and if heaven's perfect, and then I think you see everybody like the way you best remember them. So,
Okay.
like, like my grandpa, even though I may be, like older than 13, like he'd be like so I remember two different aspects of my grandpa. There's the before and after. There's before he shaved his mustache and after.
Okay.
And like he's still my grandpa and he's still great, but like before mustache was, that's my earliest memories of grandpa and some of my best memories. So I'd probably like, if I was customizing grandpa, like
Mhm.
mustache, that type of stuff. So I think they're, again, like you said, we don't know, but I think there's a way where, like, if it were up to me, I'd be like, let's make this about 40 or 50 pounds lighter, Greg Mahachka.
I'd be the same for me. Don't worry.
But yeah, I don't know. It's
Interesting. So you how many seasons did you watch of it?
2 seasons.
Two
Two
seasons.
seasons are up. 2 seasons are out. They're both available. It's called a comedy drama.
Mhm.
And I think we talked about this with The Bear,
Oh,
which
yes.
was, I think, half labeled a comedy. I was like, ooh, I don't know about The Bear. There are some genuinely funny moments in Upload, but there's also some thrilling adventure type of action and things like that. So I really recommend it.
Good. Awesome. Before because I saw a movie, but I don't know if we want to talk about that necessarily right now. I'm trying to think of what I've watched. I'm caught up on Secret Invasion. I just started season 5 of What We Do in the Shadows on Hulu. I think we talked about most of Mayhem last time. So
Mhm.
yeah,
I did finish that today.
Okay, nice. Oh, with that, oh my god, because I was thinking about it yesterday for some reason. I don't know why, but one of the guys on there who talked about when he was on a bus or something like that, and he was crying. Do you remember what I'm talking about? And somebody came up to him and said, "Boys don't cry." Like he was trying to
Nitro
Okay, talking
and
about
his
boys
dad,
don't cry.
yeah.
Yeah, and then at the end, he was talking like how that affected him and everything. Saying like because he always had to try to be tough and everything. And then I think at the end, I'm probably gonna get this quote wrong. He said something like, "I realize that boys don't cry, but like men do," or something like that. And I was like, well, I like that.
Yeah, you really, come to. I really enjoyed American Gladiators growing up.
Oh yeah, same.
In syndication Saturday nights and even during the summer, like it'd be on a couple episodes back to back, and in the summer, I believe it's on USA Network, but that's really immaterial. But so I remember all of these characters.
Yeah.
Gemini and Blaze and Nitro and Laser and Tower and Ice, Lace from the first season, Zap, and then you come to find out what was on the screen was a lot more fun than, and it looked like they were having fun at times off screen.
Yeah.
But then when the hit the fan, then it's like, huh. Because I was at the time, I didn't know anything about steroids,
Right.
so I wasn't thinking anything about that. I was even too young to understand what was going on, because I wasn't paying attention. So I didn't, read the headlines and things like that. So even like the WWF steroid trial, everything, I was, McGuire, Canseco, none of that stuff. The how they did it was the furthest. It was just these, David Goliath types of, matchups. And more often than not, yeah, I rooted for the Gladiators.
Probably, yeah.
But you're right. No, they all had their issues going through the series and coming out of the series, and be it addiction or the one thing I didn't think about as a kid was the injuries and that filming schedule, etc. So, and they were talking about that U.S. tour, and they did like 120 cities in almost 120 days. I was like, that is brutal on the body. Like no wonder they were taking pain pills and things like that just to cope. I don't want to get tackled on concrete. I can't imagine why anybody would.
No.
But it was cool to see like how many of them, kind of came out on the other side and are doing their thing, and Nitro or Dan Clark's a motivational speaker, and they've all got families, and by and large they're all really happy. So I mean, that's about all you can ask out of life.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Okay, I guess I'll just talk about the movie that I saw. Non-spoiler, zero spoilers for this. I went and saw Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Yeah, you know what that means.
That there's never going to be a part 2. They actually canceled it.
It will. It's going to be 40 years down the road, like History of the World Part 1 and Part 2.
Yeah, I should have looked it up because I'm like, I don't know if they had. I hope they have started filming it, or I hope it's already in the can. I wish, I hope it is, but I don't know. And I know, again, with the actor strike and writer strike, that's going to get postponed. Understandable. But I will say it's a long movie. Doesn't necessarily need to be. It's 2 hours and like 45 minutes, let's say. 2 hours, 2.5. Yes.
So they have a release date for Part 2, which is June 28th of next year.
Yes. Yeah. And so I'm assuming they've already filmed it, and maybe they're just in post-production.
So. Yeah.
So I would say is it 2 hours and 45 minutes in length. It could have probably been 2 hours and 30 minutes. It is action-packed, though. I mean, from start to finish, suspenseful. The bad guys, the concept for it is fine. Cast is amazing. I'll ask you this: if I mention an actor, like, do you know who's all in it? Like, do you know the cast? Is it a spoiler if I go blank is in it?
Well, I know
that a spoiler.
I know the actress that they reached out to for Invisible Woman Sue Storm is in it because she was in Fallout.
Okay,
and that's Vanessa Kirby.
Okay, yeah.
I think, is Haley Atwell in there?
Haley Atwell's in there. Yeah, she's very good.
Simon Pegg.
Simon Pegg is in there. Yeah, the classics are in there.
Okay, so I don't. Oddly enough, I don't know much about this newest movie.
That's fine. I will say this. God, now I'm forgetting her name. The girl who plays Mantis, Palm Clement.
Yeah,
like that.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Clementif, Palm Clementif. She is in it. And again, I don't think this is anything to do with the. I mean, it's to do with the plot, but I don't think it's a spoiler. She's
a villain, right?
Yeah, she plays a badass.
I did hear that.
In fact, I was watching it and I was like, "Oh my god, she is good." And I was with a friend of mine, and I was like, "I can't believe how good she is. Like, she's a badass." And this person was like, "I don't know, who is she?" I was like, "She played Mantis." I'm like, "So last time I saw her, she was like this childlike, kind of goofy,
right? Meek."
Yeah, meek. And then in this movie, god damn, I'm like, wow. So yeah, and I will say, because obviously when you go into a movie like this and when it's part 1, there's going to be a cliffhanger.
Mm-hmm.
And there was several times where I'm like, wait, is this going to be the cliffhanger? And then I had to like look at my watch, like, oh no, there's an hour left. I don't know why this. and I mean that in a good way,
right?
To where the end is, yes, it's a cliffhanger, but you also have a complete story. So I'm glad I watched it. I've been because I was debating on whether or not I wanted to go to the theater and see it, or if I wanted to wait till next year to when the second one's out, then like watch the first one.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
then go and watch the second. But I'll be watching this one again whenever it comes out on probably Paramount.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah. So, and we'll have more Mission Impossible towards the end of the show. But before we do, let's hit some news and notes. So while we're talking about Micah, the theater, we were gifted over the last couple of weeks since we last got together with some trailers for some things that are coming up soon. And while we're not going to play the trailers, I don't even have any images for it. We got a new trailer. I think the last trailer for Ahsoka.
Yes.
Which was for me, who just watched Star Wars Rebels earlier this year. I was like, oh, okay. Very excited. For probably having watched Rebels, I think I'm more excited now for Ahsoka than I was before.
Okay.
We also got a trailer, actually, just within the last 24 or 48 hours for Marvels.
Yes.
And what we learned there, I don't really know if we knew the specifics beforehand about Ms. Marvel, Captain Marvel, and Photon, but apparently they switch places when they use their powers. So that's going to be interesting because how do you defeat enemies if you're bouncing all over the time or all over the place? So that one comes out. We talked about that in the middle of November.
Yep.
And the last trailer that we got, I already forgot, so I got to look back
Blue
up.
Beetle.
I'm sorry?
Blue Beetle.
Did it? Was it? I thought we got that one. I thought we talked about that one before. Did we not?
We might have. I mean, I know there was a Blue Beetle trailer.
Well,
I
there's a
don't
Blue
think it
Beetle trailer.
necessarily added much. I think that maybe we saw who the bad guy is, who is basically, I think, Red Blue Beetle.
Yeah, because
Yep.
that's how it works. You have a villain with the exact opposite.
Yeah.
I know the other. You're right. Blue Beetle. There we got that final trailer, and that's coming in August.
Yes.
So that one's very new. And the other one, I had to look back at our list and very quickly because it's not genre-y, is Napoleon.
Oh yeah.
And honestly, I thought because I saw it was an Apple film, I thought it would be coming to the Apple Plus, but it's actually going to theaters. I think around Thanksgiving. So
there was something else, another trailer that, and I can't remember it at all, which is going to be useless. But where I also thought it was going to, because it was Apple Plus, I'm like, oh, this is going to be on Apple TV, but no, it's a movie. So I guess they're doing that now. I don't know.
hey, I mean, Napoleon has the look, and it's Joaquin Phoenix who has the aura about him. Like that could that might be going to theaters just to try to win some awards.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I think based on the trailer, I think it's got a decent shot. It looks phenomenal. I don't know how you are on historical dramas.
Yeah, I'm sure it would be fine.
Done directed by Ridley Scott, who of course gave us Blade Runner, Gladiator. Now, obviously, while the story is centuries apart from Gladiator, you definitely feel like the cinematography is similar. So, no, very very intrigued in Napoleon. Probably not so much to go to the theater, which sounds horrible. But still equally very, very excited for that. And, I'll watch Joaquin Phoenix do about anything except more Joker movies. It's just
Understandable. Yeah. And but also understandable not want to go to the theaters because those things get expensive.
Yeah. And our good friend, close personal friend, Kevin Smith said that theaters are getting kind of crazy with prices. And that's saying something because he owns one.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. He owns a theater, but I don't know if it's not like he's having new releases there. I think what they're doing there is showing
film festivals and
stuff like that.
Special events. Now I know, at least based on listening to his podcast, Hollywood Babylon, I know on occasion they do some new movies, new releases, but he would say, yeah, you go into Guardians of the Galaxy and there's 15 people in there, but the next night when we're showing Jaws, there's 200 people in there, or maybe not exactly Jaws, but something like that, bringing some of these classics back. Mm-hmm. So, he again, Kevin Smith is a very niche individual and knows at least what the people want, and will do his best to give him that. So, and charge him $8 for a tub of popcorn.
Yeah,
that's criminal. Well, let's talk about a few more news and notes, and then we do have like a main topic for the night. This is old news, so I apologize. Again, we weren't here last week, couldn't quite get together. But last week, we were gifted a very special treat from the good folks at Sony Pictures, I believe. No, I'm sorry. Marvel Pictures. I forgot that they had changed hands, or Fox or whatever. Anyway, I'll show the picture. Shut up. That's right. We've got Wolverine in the classic yellow and blue. Now, it's not spandex, Mike.
Thank God. Thank God.
But, I mean, it's honestly about as true to form I think as we're going to get. And I think it looks good. It looks, quote unquote, tactical. Tactical and practical, Mike.
It is, yes. As long as he's not fighting at night. Yeah,
I mean the black leather would suit better at nighttime.
Yeah, but hey, look, it sucks that this is being delayed because I was really looking forward to it. But I'll see it eventually.
All in time, sir. All in
Yeah,
time.
exactly.
Something that you won't see eventually, or at least not in the near future, is a Netflix live action He-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Since they put $30 million into this, and they just said, nope, not going to do it. I don't understand how corporations just piss away money.
I don't know. I guess and maybe it's like, well, they put 30 million, but if they had to keep going, it would have been 60 million. So they said, let's stop it now. Also, I think for a lot of CEOs, 30 million is nothing. 30 million is like somebody going, I lost $20.
I'm in the wrong business.
Yeah.
I need to get that corporate life. Yeah. CEO level. This is the photo that we're showing for those of you who are only listening to the audio version of this and not on YouTube. The picture that we're showing is that of course, He-Man from Masters of the Universe Revelation on Netflix. I enjoyed the series. I'm excited for part 2 if we ever get it. I think we're supposed to eventually.
I would hope so.
All right. I'm looking over. I don't have any images for this, Mike, so this is no fun. But we did get a little teaser from Prime Video on Prime Day last week about some upcoming projects that are set to hit before the end of this year, and among them are Gen V, which is a spinoff from The Boys and the VOT. Whatever I can't think of the serum or whatever it's called, and more importantly, I think this as weird as sounds, we got a little glimpse of Reacher season 2.
Yes,
I'm very excited. I think that was December.
Yeah, I'm excited for both of them.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, of course.
So
Reacher somehow getting even bigger, he said.
I mean, it's that peach pie.
Mm-hmm.
They finally got a piece of down in the end of season 1.
Absolutely, yes.
All right, so let's see. Just going over my list real quick here. We mentioned a little bit about the actors strike. Yeah, the actors joined the writers on strike, which is I think the first time in 46 or 66 or something like that years that both unions have been on strike. It's getting serious now, folks.
Mm-hmm.
If you weren't paying attention before, I saw a video today, or actually just tonight, of can't remember the actor's name, but he played Roy on The Office, and he said that he was kind of explaining the streaming compensation model, at least for Netflix at the time, which is Netflix pays, or I guess Paramount pays the actors X amount of dollars for 3-month usage or rights or whatever, but it's on Netflix for however long, more people to watch it. Like the David, I think is the actor's name. He's like whether 10 people or 1 million people watch it, like our compensation's not changing any, but the people who own the rights, which is Paramount, they're making more and more and more money. I was like,
yes,
okay, that's I can see how you have a beef with that, but all that stuff needs to be settled out in this new wave of technology. I don't know how, because studios don't like to give up money,
right?
And actors want to feel appreciated.
Well, and that's
compensated.
Yeah, you say that it needs to be all figured out, and that's why they're on strike right now.
Yeah,
that's because the studios weren't figuring it out, and the studios were just saying, "Oh well." It's no different. Like if you see a Mission Impossible 100 times this month, they're going to make more money. Actors are going to make more money, right? Now, if you watch a Mission Impossible 4 on Paramount 100 times this month, not the same, right? But it should be. It should be comparable at least.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm obviously, and we both are on the actors and the writers side, but I'm curious of how long it's going to be until like the general public is like, okay, come on, I want to see a new movie, a new TV show. I'm tired of these reality shows. Just what, you make millions. Just you should be fine.
To which side? Which
The actors and the writers.
I was gonna say I think they'd say that to both sides. Like, look, you both are doing better than us.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah,
Figure it out.
right.
Yeah, because I know again the actor who played Roy referred to himself. He's like us blue collar actors. And what I did, I do it way too often is I dipped my toe into the comment section and I
Oh
read
yeah,
somebody's like blue collar. Like, I don't see you framing houses. Like your
right. Yeah,
character worked in a warehouse, or things like that. And so it's I don't know. It's yeah. The greatest downside of all this is, selfish as it sounds, like now we're going to be subjected to more reality television.
oh yeah, yeah.
So, but thankfully, this show is already written, recorded, produced, edited, and ready to be rolled out on Monday. Futurama on
Yes,
Hulu. I'm so excited for this, Mike. You have no idea.
I'm looking forward to it.
You know, the Futurama is like my go-to.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'll say you'll have new. Well, I was gonna say you would have new shows to fall asleep to, but I think you'll fall asleep on your own just fine. You know.
2 nights in a row, Mike, that I fall asleep in my chair and wake up at 2:30 in the morning.
Yep.
Yeah. It's not my fault anymore. It's the chair's fault.
Well,
No,
a little bit of both.
My goal is with the new episodes is like step out of order, watch the new episodes, but when I go back to bed, watch the stuff that I've seen, cycle through a few times already. So, because I can't fall asleep to the new episodes, Mike. That'd be rude.
You could, you probably will, but I understand.
Anything's possible.
I like to fall asleep to old podcasts that I've listened to already.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
I don't listen to podcasts more than once.
Oh, okay. Well,
so, but we'll go with that.
Yeah,
that doesn't count as a podcast.
Okay.
So, Mike, shall we get into our main topic now?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. And so, as Mike mentioned just a few moments ago, he went last week and saw Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, Volume 1, aka this one here.
Yes.
So he watched it, and you can see if you're watching the video here, you can see Palm, it looking like some type of European general and carrying a sword. It appears. Confirm or deny?
Oh yes, all confirmed.
Haley Atwell, as you see here in the photo as well. Rebecca Ferguson, Ving Rhames. By the way, Ving Rhames, just I love the guy.
Amazing.
I love that man. Simon Pegg, who I first saw, probably like most of us, in Shaun of the Dead.
Yes.
And who's really, he's Mission Impossible is a huge franchise. He was, of course, Scotty in the relaunch of Star Trek that came out in 2009. Not that one. But and then you see down here on the bottom, you see Vanessa Kirby, aka the potential Sue Storm.
Interesting. I like it.
And we talked about that a little bit last week. So we had an idea of debating movie years. And after Mike watched Mission Impossible 6, aka Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, Volume 1.
7. Mission Impossible 7.
Yes, you're right. I'm sorry. Thank you. I said, you know what? Instead, let's rank. Let's rank our Mission Impossible movies. So I have my ranking, Mike.
I have my
list of the 6 that we have both seen. I have not seen Dead Reckoning, so we're keeping that one off.
Right, 6. There's probably going to be spoilers in here, just so you know. And also, like, I did a thing that kind of helped me out. I ranked them like 1 to 5, like each individual. Like, this one's 1 star, 5 stars. And you can do this when you're. I know the rank does not necessarily matter, but as far as what 5 means to what 1 means, right? I have this written down. So, like, if you're watching a movie, like, and I was asking you, like, oh, what's upload on a scale of 1 to 5? You can kind of tell me. So 5 is holy shit, this is amazing. Okay. 4 is wow, this is pretty damn good. Right. 3 is okay, this isn't bad. 2 is it's not great. Right. And then 1 is what the hell am I watching? Green Lantern? So, 1 to that scale 1 to 5, you can, you can figure out where exactly it's at. Should I read them again?
Nope.
Okay. Should I just get the number 1 was what the hell am I watching? Green Lantern? And that's the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern, by the way. So, all right, you ready? what, what is your number? Because we're starting with actually number 6. I almost said, what's your number 5? What's your number 6? Your least favorite?
My number 6 is Mission Impossible 2.
I agree with you.
Right. I don't know if it's the haircut.
It's so 2000s, and it's so. I mean, it's John Woo directed it, and you can tell.
Look, I like the basic premise of the movie, which is the being Chimera. I mean, okay, so of the 6 movies that that are out of theaters, this is the only one that I saw in theaters.
Okay.
But it's deadly viruses and potential plagues. The best thing I think about Mission Impossible 2 is the Metallica song that we got.
Wait, did you say that was the best thing?
I think so.
Maybe, and that's setting the bar really, really low right there.
It was a good Metallica song.
Sure.
And I remember watching it on the VM video.
It was
video. What's the? Is it the? Nah. So they have the Video Music Awards, which is the music one, right? But they also have like what were the MTV? Is it the MTV Movie Awards? Okay, so Metallica performed this song live on the MTV Movie Awards back in 2000, and I feel like it was a rocking song. I really enjoyed it then. I really enjoy it now.
I'm pretty sure that even though we have it low on our list, Mission Impossible 2, I think, was the number 1 movie in 2000. I'm almost positive. If not, it was very close. So, all right. So we both have the same number 6. Should I go with what my number 5 is?
Yeah, let's do that.
On my number 5, I have the very first Mission Impossible.
Really?
Yeah. Mission Impossible 1.
Okay. Huh.
It was, look, to me, it almost set the standard for what Mission Impossible was going to become. They haven't figured it out yet. Tom Cruise in this one is, and it again, there's a character arc not only throughout the movie, but throughout all 7 of the movies, where he starts off very cocky, very arrogant. The writing was fine, it's a hold on. Someone calling me today.
Mike, it's 10 o'clock at night.
I never had a call from this person either. Anyway, they there was just some very little things in it that I was like, it's fine. There was a scene where in the very beginning where they're all talking, and it's supposed to be a scene to show you that hey, these guys have all been friends for a while, but they did the same thing that it's too fake, where they're like, hey, you remember back in Fallujah when this happened, and you're supposed to be like, oh, they've been friends and they've been on these adventures for a while, but it just seems too fake. Again, where did you have this one on your list? Did you have it at 1? You're number 1. Okay,
I did, and I'll tell you what, I liked it. You're right, it was the introduction, and it was not everything was fully fleshed out, but I like some of the small details of like the spy game. For example, when the mission goes wrong and everybody's scattered and most people are dead, and Ethan Hunt's going back to the motel room, and I remember he unscrews the light bulb and crushes it in his jacket and sprinkles it in the hallway so that he can hear. Because it's just like little spy tips like that. One of the greatest, I think, regrets of the franchise is that they killed off Gordon Bombay.
Yes.
Very, very early. But for that movie to succeed, Ethan Hunt really had to be on his own. I mean, or at least not because again he found Ving Rhames, and there's just, look. I mean, that was the start of the ridiculous stunts, the rappelling down in the room that can't have any sound and can't have any heat, or any pressure. I think it set the bar. Now, Grant, they've up to they continue to raise that bar, but it has to start somewhere. We didn't talk about this in Mission Impossible 2, but that really was Tom Cruise at the beginning of the movie just doing a like a free climb,
Yes.
on a cliff face. And that's just it goes to show the crazy SOB that Tom Cruise is. But for a movie that came out now almost 30 years ago, Mission Impossible came out in 1996.
Yes, we're 15.
And I don't know, for whatever reason, I go back to the like just some not all the dialogue's great, but when he's sitting at the restaurant with Kittredge with the big fish tank, and he's like, Kittredge, you've never seen me angry, and he smashes the gum and he puts it on the tank and it explodes, and he there's just so much about that movie that I really look back very fondly. So yeah, spoilers, that's my number one.
Okay, that's fine. I've also I should point out I have seen all 6 of these movies within the last week because
I have seen one of them in the last week.
Okay. So you're basing it off, and no, there's no wrong way to do this. I'm basing it off recency, and you're basing it off like what you remember about it.
Realistically, I've probably seen Mission Impossible 1 the most.
Understandable, yeah.
And I used to at one point own Mission Impossible 2.
Okay, mate. That's fine.
So yeah.
So you tell me what your number 3 is then.
My number 3 is actually. You mean my number 5?
Oh, yes. Sorry. Yes.
Okay.
You're fine.
My number 5 is actually number 5, and that's Rogue Nation.
Okay.
Look, nothing specific about it. I know this is the one with the crazy plane stunt, where he's hanging on the side of, as the plane is taking off. Again, Tom Cruise is a madman. Aside from that, not enough of this stands out to me, which again, you had the benefit of watching them all very recently, and I don't dislike number 2. I just don't think of it as finally. Number 5 just kind of is there for me.
So interesting, because the Mission Impossible 5 is my number 1.
Oh, okay. So apparently I need to go back to the drawing board.
This is honestly for me, this is obviously a buildup of 4, and they've got the good team together. They've got the amazing stunts. They've got the you don't know what's kind of happening for sure type of thing. And I forget if it's this one. Actually, I think it's number 3. I'm not sure. But at one point in time, there's one where everybody's wearing a mask. You have literally, it's almost like this is the Scrolls. You just have no clue who is doing what. Everybody they have masks on top of masks. Yeah. But yeah, Rogue Nation. And again, I was telling you this off air. My top 3 are kind of interchangeable. So I had this one as my number 1, and my number 3 was
number 4.
Yeah, number 4. Wait, 6, 5, 4. Yeah, number 4 was Mission Impossible 3.
Okay. Oddly enough, that's my number 2.
Okay. I would say for this one, this is when, as I'm watching it, I realize this is when they're starting to get everything together. Meaning they're figuring out what this Mission Impossible franchise is going to be. And at this point in time, I think they know it's going to be a franchise. I think Tom Cruise is finally starting to figure out who Ethan Hunt is as a character. They're getting the team together. Now, Ving Rhames has been in since the first one.
Right.
I think this is the one that Simon Pegg first came in, which I hadn't realized that. I thought he had came in for like number 4 or something, but he was briefly in this, or at least he was introduced in this one, I think. So they're slowly starting it to get everything together.
The reason that this one for me is number 2 is because of the villain. Philip Seymour Hoffman is a nightmare. He has, and I'm not going to try to do a Philip Seymour Hoffman voice, but he's like, the line of questioning is, you got anybody that you love? Well, I'm going to find them, and I'm going to hurt them.
Yes.
And it's that kind of like very grounded, very real threat. Like, I'm not gonna go blow up the moon.
Right.
I'm gonna go find that person that you love,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna make you wish that they had never met you, type of thing. And that was, again, it's for me, and I don't think, just for me, like I'm not carrying that, but a hero can only be as good as the villain.
Hmm.
And Philip Seymour Hoffman might be, honest to God, the best villain in any of these movies.
He's definitely very arguable to say that he's one of the best villain.
It,
There's
and I
one
go,
for me. It's he's top 2 for sure.
okay.
Yeah.
And I also like how, after they capture Philip Seymour
Mhm.
Hoffman, and it's just little details come back to me, as we go. Because again, I haven't seen this one in a little while, but like they're making the mask, and they're doing the machine, I should say, is making the mask and doing everything perfect, and speckling the paint and just the right tone. It's just, it's fun to see the finished product and them ripping the mask off, but it's also kind of fun to see them put it all together too.
Yeah, and I honestly think speaking of mask, you got to go back maybe to the first one or second one, or maybe even part of the third one, where the characters, it's basically when they show them on TV, it's like, oh, that's an old Tom Cruise. Luckily, the guy that we need to look like looks exactly like Tom Cruise with a mustache or something,
All right, so that was my number 4. No, that was my number 2. Your number 4.
Yes,
So my number 4. This is getting complicated.
I know.
So next one up the list for me is, not counting the one you just saw in theaters, it's the most recent one. That's Fallout, number 6.
Okay.
And again, it's kind of right in the middle. I just watched it this week. It is the one with Henry Cavill. It's the famous mustache that had to be digitally erased when they went back for reshoots in Justice League. But for me, it was kind of fun watching Henry Cavill be a bad guy.
Yes, and a very good bad guy.
We got the introduction to the White Widow, aka Vanessa Kirby, aka Susan Storm. Ving Rhames, Simon Pegg, Tom Cruise, they were all at their best, and they reached back to Mission Impossible 3 and brought back Michelle Monaghan as his one-time fiance. So they brought her back and put her back in danger, which again brings back this whole swelling of emotion for Ethan Hunt. Look, I really liked it. Again, the action is always phenomenal in these movies, and the stunts are unreal. This one might be up there just because of a little bit of recency bias, but no, just really good stuff.
So this is my number 2.
Okay.
And I saw this yesterday.
Nice.
Again, I've seen this one several times. And this is I had forgotten how good Henry Cavill is as a bad guy. Like, it was almost like if I had seen this movie first and then somebody said, oh, he's going to be actually Superman, I'd be like, what? The bad guy? That's ridiculous. And this is why
always the mustache.
He might be number 2 villain for me.
Okay.
With Philip Seymour Hoffman. An only reason I say that, I think psychologically, I think Philip is better. But if you were to, Tom Cruise versus Philip Seymour Hoffman, like, what Tom Cruise is gonna, not Tom Cruise, Ethan Hunt, I will say, right, the actual character. Ethan Hunt just destroys him, But now you have Henry Cavill versus Ethan Hunt.
He can more than hold his own.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But again, someone says Philip Seymour Hoffman is the best villain. You were absolutely correct. I just, fight wise.
So I think that only leaves number 3 left.
Yes.
And I think based on process of elimination, we have the same number 3.
Is it 4? Mission Impossible 4?
It is Ghost Protocol.
Yes. And again, this is when they've got a good team there.
Jeremy Renner enters the franchise.
Jeremy Renner enters the franchise. By the way, he's apparently he's under contract for one more. Now he had that snow plow accident or whatever. So I don't know when he's coming back, but I think he can come back for one more. Yeah, this is honestly, and like the 4, 5, and 6. Yeah, those for me are top 3. So this is just another really good one. This is one I always kind of go back to. Now, this is the one I believe, because all these kind of blur together and mean that in a good way. But this is the one where he's climbing the tower, right? Or is that 5?
I think it's this one.
Is this one?
Because this is also the one where they're in the Kremlin
Yes.
in Russia, in Moscow there, and he's like slowly like changing the perspective of the guards and slowly making their way up the hallway, which is a crazy trick. Crazy technology that probably doesn't actually exist.
No, they actually did that in real time. They actually went to the Kremlin. This is a documentary, actually.
Oh,
people know that.
Man, yeah. I'm surprised that these secret agents let film crews around.
It's crazy. I don't know why. That's weird.
How come I didn't hear any about that in the news? Like, I could have sworn that watching Fallout, they had Wolf Blitzer on there talking about 3 warheads or plutonium clusters or whatever. So, again, I believe this is the one too, because this is where they have to go dark. And like they're getting Ethan Hunt is giving his message in like an old London record store or something like that.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden, the record player starts smoking. I always like those little gags about like your mission, should you choose to accept it, and this message will self-destruct in 5 seconds. And all of a sudden, going back to the first movie, when the message is self-destructing, you have John Voight, his character at the beginning, lighting up a cigarette, like starting a match on a plane.
Yeah.
Which, is a different time. It was almost 30 years ago.
Yeah.
But, that covers up the smoke and on the tape burning. So no, that was fun. That was a fun little list.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't know if Greg froze or he's just, That's a great.
Got you.
Greg's not talking for 5 seconds. Something's going on.
Hey. Wow, that hurt. All right. We're going to put the countdown on now.
I bet people are loving this. They can just stare into your baby blues. There you go. That's our viewership just went up.
Well, that was fun. That was the toughest thing I've ever had to do in my life. And I've been in the room for 3 children being born. We're going to do more rankings and things like this, folks, in the next few weeks. Different and probably only one at a time. But, we're going to do some fun things, some different things. So make sure that you stick around with us. And if you're joining us for the first time on YouTube, tell your friends, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the little bell so that you get notified when we bring new videos, which is going to be more frequently, but probably not every week. You never know. Sometimes I'm tired and sleepy. It's almost 10:30. I'm a 41-year-old man with gray hair and a fat ass, so I'm going to go to bed. I don't know why I had to get that specific, Mike. I'm sorry.
It's quite all right. Ladies love it.
Well, debatable. So great show, Mike. Thank you for everything, as always.
Same.
All right. That'll do it for this episode of Nerds United. And make sure that you check out all the great shows, or at least the other great show here on the Jittery Monkey Podcast Network, which is My 123 Cents. And if you are on YouTube, check out the My 123 Cents channel. Kevin Huntsberger does a lot better job putting content up there than we do. And he also has a tickety talk, and I don't understand that. But that's a Kevin thing. This is a Greg and Mike thing. And we'll see you next time here on Nerds United. We remind you each and every week to be kind
and rewind.
This is a production of the Jittery Monkey Podcast Network. For more jittery shenanigans, go to jitterymonkey.com.